Okay, welcome to OpenL Sprints overview. We haven't done it for a while. It seems that the last one we made was in 2022. So we have a lot to cover. And without further ado, I will start with the agenda for today. We will review only OpenL changes that were done within this period. Genesis improvements will be reviewed in another session. So here we will be concentrating only on OpenL itself. The session will be divided into four sections. We will review the changes that were done to the algorithm rules, the spreadsheets. Then we will review the new feature localization or internationalization. And then we will review the smaller updates, but not less significant in OpenL syntax and OpenL Studio itself. So let's start with the spreadsheet updates. The new feature is introduced where the unified algorithm, or it's also called combined algorithm, is introduced. What it means? It means that when we have situations, if there are spreadsheets that are called within decision table, for example, frequent situation is we have different coverages and we need to call different calculations for these coverages. We create different algorithm rules for these coverages, and we need to create the path that if this coverage called this calculation, if that coverage called another calculation. So each calculation will have its own logic. And in these cases, previously we had to cast, like to specify the parameters, what is the type. We had to create empty unnecessary steps. So there was a lot of manual work that BAs had to do. This was optimized, and in the backend, the system creates a unified algorithm. So it collects itself the steps and the types. It identifies all the rules that you are calling, and creates one combined algorithm in the backend. So it really simplified the work for business analysts when working with different sorts of spreadsheets called within one rule, or if ternary operator is used, the column, like when we're writing conditions, if this, then this, if that, then that. So we don't need anymore to worry, let's say, about the casting of parameters or making sure that they have exactly the same steps or exactly the same structure. So this is done, all this is done in the backend, and now the work is really simplified for BAs. Another feature that was also complete for this unified algorithm is that now we can write, instead of spreadsheet, we can use SR. And this is done when we have rule-based outputs. So for example, we can write spreadsheet results, spreadsheet name, like for custom spreadsheet as usual, or when we have ternary operator and we want to send the combined spreadsheet to another rule as input, we can use the SR and symbol. So if you want, for example, to send the combined spreadsheet that was generated in the result of this step, if you see the screenshot, preliminary claim cost calculation, here two different spreadsheets are called, and in the result of this call, a combined spreadsheet is created. And then if I want to send this combined spreadsheet to another rule, this will be the syntax. So I will use SR instead of spreadsheet. The abbreviation can be used now. And I'm using this combined, let's say, syntax. So it's not the same, like I don't use the custom spreadsheet anymore. I have to use this syntax. Any questions about this unified algorithm, the use cases, syntax? When there will be sources like where to read more, you'll see it in the reference guide as well. But in general, is the idea clear? What's happening in the backend, in the background? Okay, no questions. I hope it's clear. Okay, one more feature that was introduced for the spreadsheets as well is comparison, spreadsheet comparison. It was introduced to make the OpenL functions more flexible. So now you can compare the spreadsheets themselves. You can pull two different spreadsheets and then write spreadsheet 1 equals to spreadsheet 2, and the step names, the types of the steps, the results will be compared. The only thing that is ignored are the inputs. So now, if you need for business reasons to compare two spreadsheets, you can do this. As far as I know, it was related to the unique function usage. So now this helps to use it in more business cases. These are the resources that you can use to review the details. You can go to the Epic and review the requirements and the description there. You will find more details. And also the syntax and the details of the United spreadsheet will be in the reference guide. So you can find it by following this naming United spreadsheet result. We're switching to localization feature. It's a big improvement or new feature in OpenL. The business request was that the error messages and labels that are returned from OpenL rules must be translated. Previously, we didn't support it. If we were returning the error message, it was in English or any other language that we set up in error function. And there was no way that user could specify that, for example, for this users return in Chinese, for those users return in English, for some return in French. So there was just one language. How was it done? So now in projects, in OpenL projects, where you want to add the translation to the values, or we call it localization, the folder I18N has to be added, and there will be message properties file. This is a default file with the default values, and then you add as many files with the translation as you need. One file for one language. So if you want to add, for example, French, English, and Chinese, you will have 3 files. And those files will contain the translation for the values that you want to return to the UI. Those values need to have codes. So how it works, the rule, the OpenL rule, will have a code, and this code, let me find if I have an example. For example, here, this one. So this you will start using the codes, and then OpenL will go to the file, and by this code it will find the translation equivalent and return it to the UI. The codes can be with blank spaces. They can contain any symbols. Initially, it was set up that only like very limited values, only numbers and letters, for example, could be in the code. But then the improvement was introduced that we can use any symbols, and we could use blank spaces in the code value. And then after you specify the code value, you specify the value that you want to be returned. If you want, for example, here to be French, after the code value, you will put the French translation. In OpenL rules, you will call this translation and this localization itself by MSG function. So if you want the rule or any OpenL value to be returned in translated language, you will use MSG and then put the code for the value that you want to be translated. There are also templates that have to be used if you want to configure, let's say, the values that should be replaced with something. So if you look at this example, I can put a template that in the property value, I set 0 and 1, which will be replaced with class name and coverage code once I call this MSG function. So these templates, they allow you to replace with certain values once the values are sent to be translated. If you see in the rule, I'm sending class name and coverage name. When calling MSG function, in the message property file, I have 0 and 1, which stand for these values that I'm sending. And then you can see that it was replaced with ITNCI, the class name and the coverage name. Once the test case was executed, or if it's in the application, this will be the value sent from the UI. So it allows you to like put the values that you want to be replaced later with the values themselves. Not specifying here because you cannot specify here like class name. You don't know the class name that will be sent from the UI. You don't know the coverage name that will be sent from the UI. So these templates allow you to have like variables that will be sent and put just a template that will be replaced with the values. So in the description here, you will see that it's format. You can use format, but format doesn't allow a format function. But format function does allow you to call the properties file. The MSG function calls the property files and will return for you the translation. So in general, the functions that use the templates can be used now, and this allows you to reuse the same templates rather than hard coding the values or making different combinations. So this is an optimized way to use the localization. Another improvement that was done within the scope of this localization feature is that error function now returns not just a fixed string. Probably you remember that we used to write the rules like this. If we want to return an error, we specify error function, and then in the quotation marks, we put the values, the string that we want to return. And this was the only way how we could put the error message that we want to be displayed on the UI. Now I can create the error object where I would specify what it can include. For example, I want to include code, I want to include message, I can include other values if it's required from the system. And now I can say that error function will return the error object. So it doesn't have to return anymore the string. It's technically more correct and by business more correct to return the object itself with the code and the message to be translated. So it's like two in one. First, it returns the error itself, which now contains the object, and second, it returns the translated message, not a fixed message anymore. So this brought big value for the system itself, or the policy system for the EIS suite, because it was used like this across the system, and it was hard to read our previous version of the error messages. And now the error functions, the error behavior is more consistent with the system approach and the general approach in general. Any questions so far about localization, syntax? How it is used, what do we need? Well, we'll look at it in more details when we talk about Genesis features as well. But maybe you have questions now. Okay. Now you can also send context as input to the rules. You don't have to put it in the model. You don't have to put it in the, let's say, context piece when we are sending the request. Remember where you set up the context in this in the request separately. So now the context can be configured right in the rules input. And this helps us not to extend the model if it's not related to the, if it's not part, for example, of the input parameter of the main input parameter, for example, policy or any other parameter. You can put it directly in the rule itself. So this makes the model really optimized.
Olga,
Mhm.
from which version of OpenL this is available?
We can check in the ticket 5.26.1.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. Okay, error containing testing errors. We also, with introduction of this new error behavior, it was not possible initially to test those errors because previously we used to write that error was a separate line in the test cases, and we would put that message. Now, as long as error contains the object, we introduced a new way to test the errors, and you have to spell to write it as if you're testing objects. Like it's still error function, and then dot, and then you put the attribute that you want to test, that you want to put the expected value for, and it's like a mix of the old approach where we were writing just error and the standard approach of testing the objects, right? We use error keyword and then dots and the piece that you want to test. The same with the arrays. If your error object contains the arrays, you can also specify which element you want to test. So very similar to objects and object testing, and quite intuitive approach. How do we receive the language to the rules, it happens by retrieving the locale from your browser. So you don't have to do anything specific when you want to display the messages in English, for example. It will be retrieved from your locale, and the error messages or labels will be displayed in English, for example. If you are in US, if you are in other countries like France, it will be retrieved from your browser, and the values will be retrieved, will be displayed in French. So the feature of retrieving the locale from the browser was introduced to simplify the values display and not to configure it separately. You can find recipes how to add localization to your projects. On the wiki page, you will find the link in the presentation. There are detailed steps how to add them, how to run the tests, how to configure the properties files, how to add the folders. So all the details will be found here. And if you need more details about the implementation itself, you can find them in these two tickets. Okay, before we move to OpenL syntax updates, any questions so far? Okay, either everything is clear or you're not interested. Okay, let's move to the OpenL syntax updates. These are new ways or improvements how we can create rules. The new object creation syntax was updated. Previously, we had to write, when we wanted to create an object, we had to write new, then object name, and then list all the parameters that are set up in the model one by one, even if they're blank, even if we don't want to set them, we have to write null. So the object creation was quite lengthy and took a lot of space in the rules. Like it was, if the object is big, if the data type is big, then we had to list all the parameters, and it made the rules large. Now it was simplified, and all you have to do is to write the data type name and then specify what parameters you want to set. So for example, you want to set this name, you want to set other parameters, list them separated by comma. You don't have to list all the parameters anymore. After removing the keyword new, it became obvious that sometimes it's confusing whether it's a roll call or it's data type creation. So now the new keyword is optional. So if you feel more comfortable to use new keyword and then create a data type to set the parameters, you can use it. If you are, let's say, okay without the word, the keyword new, you can omit it. So it became flexible to use or not the keyword new, up to you. But the syntax is the same, where you don't need anymore to list all the attributes of the data type to create a data type. It's just to list whatever you need to set up.
So, Oля, so in other words, if I have like 5 parameters, basically I can define just 2 and skip the definition of all others, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you can put new or the keyword new, or you can skip it.
Nice, thanks.
A rules dependency support. In some projects, the rules and data types were created, and then it became obvious that they are used in other projects. So the solution could be to copy paste them in every project, which is not a very efficient work. And a feature was introduced that you can create a dependency to another project and reuse the rule or data type in your current project. So you can use the syntax by putting this like reverse quotation marks and then put the table name. If you need to specify the module, you can also specify the module. And this way you will like extend your availability, let's say, for the project beyond your current project. So your current project starts seeing other projects and starts seeing tables in another project.
Question.
Mhm.
How do we define the module? Like if this module is versioned? So
We can check here. I think you can don't remember exactly. I think you put the full name there.
like a specific version of the model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, this is Elena Kosolapova. I can answer. You can just define full name after the project name after slash symbol.
So, Lena, should we define so for example, I would like to use a certain table from the module, and the module has two versions. There are like dates, same named and different dates, right? So how should I define the specific version of a model, or it will be I'm defining the main name and the version is picked up by dates. I don't know, something like that.
You should define full name with date.
With the dates that I would like to use.
Yes.
As far as can I ask? Sorry, if we define just project and table name, I suppose that versioning would work. Am I right?
If it will work, because I had I will double check this, but I had the issue with one of my tasks with dependencies, and I researched it and checked.
So
If we have the context like request date, effective date, this context will be global, and so if I specify the project which I call, this mechanism of dependency will automatically define necessary version.
if you define the project name and then a table name, but if it's a module, so then I need to specify exact version. Or
Anya, we don't have versions of modules. We have versions of rules.
could you just go back to the presentation? Maybe I've just mixed something up. So there was like project / model, the second row in that's what I was verifying. So if I need to define the model name, what name should I use? The model is a file, right? If I have several files, that is AB roles and date sets. One date set, second date set. So I should define the full name with the dates.
Yes.
Yes, because you have modules. It's separate modules, A, B, C.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to understand. That if I have A, B, C, they all called the same but have different dates. That means different models. Then if I would like to use here specific version, specific model, I will define full name.
Yes, you may
Yes.
do it.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Any other questions about it? Okay, let's continue if not. There were several improvements for date functions. Mainly they were requested for working with claims adjudication rules. We will not go through them now. You can review them in the reference guide and in Jerry ticket. So they were mainly directed to clarify and make it more specific when working with dates, like adding hours, minutes. It helped the users to give more precision when they needed to calculate the difference between the dates or set the date. So several improvements were made to the date functions. There was
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, you have here in the list isLeap and date in commas and isLeap integer. What integer? What means integer here? I mean, if I specify the date, it is clear to me, but
I think
how
you
we
can
can
put the year here, not the date itself, but year.
the year. Okay,
Like
okay.
2024.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Okay. Varargs in array functions. This improvement was done for vararg. What is vararg? Vararg is the variable argument. Basically, the difference between vararg and array, because the way I understand it, and it was clear for me how to differentiate them, is that when we are talking about array is the list of the same objects, right? Many objects, yes, we don't know the number of them, but they are the objects of the same type. And it can be any number, and we cannot list in the array like 1, 2, 3 separated by comma. It's always like one object, let's say, and vararg, it's an object where you can list different values. So you can put, for example, string, you can put then integer, so separated by comma, you can put any number of arguments. And these varargs were added to certain functions. And now these functions, you can see them also here on this screenshot, are supporting the varargs. Okay, let's move forward. ToString function now works with numbers. You can write, for example, ToString and then specify the number, right, in the brackets. It will convert the number into string. And here it will specify the number of digits that you want to be after decimal point. You cannot put blank space here. So this is how it will understand that it is the format that you are giving. If you want to give to string and then specify the format itself, that you want the custom format, you can put the number and then specify the format. It will convert a number into string according to the format that you are putting. So here you can put the blanks and it will understand how to read this format, and it will be separated by the blank space. So now you can put the format of the numbers that you want them to be converted to. Okay, any questions? Next feature was the was to make the validation of the data types stricter in OpenL Studio. If you remember before, only the values that are completely different, that are outside of the vocabulary list, were identified and user received errors or warnings about them. Like if, for example, I have two genders, male and female, and I'm specifying neutral, and then it will return error. In this case, if I spell the word wrongly, or if I use uppercase, lowercase instead of what is specified in the vocabulary, the Web Studio will return a warning message. And it's really helpful when creating the rules, because sometimes we don't pay attention that we misspelled something, and it's help us to keep the rules consistent and strictly to the requirements, because even the values in the quotation marks were not validated before. Now they are validated, and users will see those warning messages to really like it really helps us to type everything correctly, to specify the values from the vocabulary correctly, and to keep the rules cleaner, let's say, when we're talking about those case, uppercase and lowercase mistypes. Expression reference was the feature where you can reference the value from the condition. So if I want, for example, the value, right, from the condition to be part of the output, I can reference it now, and it will be returned as well. So, for example, if let's say condition 2 will work, then it will be included in the output of this rule. It is true for the rules and for the smart rules type for the output, for the external output. And this was really helpful for it to include the conditions in the output if needed. The next feature.
Sorry, yeah, Oля.
Yep.
Lena, Oля, is it still applicable the usage of words like not equal instead of the sign like exclamation mark and equal sign?
Beg's grammar, yes, it should work.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the like verbiage of a message, because it's like, you know, doesn't look super user friendly. So in case if we want to use this feature, it's better to think of different presentation of a syntax here, like to use the full words instead of.
I
Agree.
see. Instead of mark.
It's not client, especially here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. Okay, next feature was to add the property values in the rule return. So if you want to include the value of the property as part of the rule, you can just reference it and it will be included in the return. As far as I know, it was very crucial for offer configuration rules, and maybe in some other business cases it will be also beneficial because when user runs the rules, not always they can see what it was valid for. So now we can return the properties as well. So these are the results of the rule, and this rule was valid for such configuration, for such settings.
Sorry, I'm asking a question about it as well. If we define versioning, like this versioning properties on a file level, the table still inherits these properties, right? So we can put, for example, this this expression into the final rate card or something like that.
Correct. And
that's really a good feature, yes.
And to my knowledge, as far we often get requirements for rater to return like which version was picked up.
Right, this is really useful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have gone through the OpenL syntax updates, and now we move to the OpenL Studio updates. So how was OpenL Studio improved? It's really exciting for me to announce that we improved the logos. They look really nice with the new design. So the new logo was introduced for OpenL Studio itself. In the editor, you will see the new logo. For the OpenL rule services, also, it's another color, similar design, but another color. If you go to the website, OpenL tablets, also you will see there the consistent logo. And there is future release of the new format, let's say, for the documentation, for the guides. And there you will see the consistent logo as well. So some of the logos you already can find them in the available sources, and one more is coming.
Olga, can I add here?
Sure.
I would like to mention that our task was not only to come up with a new logo design, but we needed to align it with the full EIS suite logo set, tooling logo set. That's why, for example, blue color for OpenL Studio, it's like the same color for like tooling set. So if you go to tooling, product studio, OpenL Studio, they are like all blue. So we tried to be aligned.
Let me pull it fast.
Yeah, here.
If you can see it, yeah, it's consistent with this logos. Can you see it, by the way, or?
Yeah, we see.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, Lena. Let's move on to the granular access control feature. So we know that there are a lot of requests when customers or our partners request limited control for the OpenL artifacts. For example, they say, I want to give access only to this repository or only to this file or only to this project. So this feature was implemented. For now, it's only the backend without front end, but it's already available, and BAs can submit requests specifying the requirements, like how the how the access rights should be provided for certain users. Specifically how they want to give access to a certain user to the repository, to the module. So all the details they specify in the tickets, and then the developers, they go to the dedicated source. They will go to the OpenL Studio API configuration, let's say, and there they will run scripts and do the configuration to enable this access control for certain users. So for now, BAs cannot do it as there is no UI, but the feature is already available, but it has to be configured by the developers. Any questions here? Okay. If not, another exciting feature, we have created OpenL Smart Assistant. It's now available to test at this environment only. Once we release it and make it available through many of our study environments, we will notify you. But for now, it's only here at this environment. This OpenL assistant allows the users to ask questions about the rules, about the OpenL syntax. So it really saves time when you want to clarify a question about a rule, or you want to you forgot syntax, for example. Instead of going to the reference guide, you just can type here, and it will give you the details how to write something, or it will like pull the information from the reference guide. We connected the wiki. The recipes are connected. We connected the reference guide, and we also uploaded a file with the examples for the functions. Like we created an extended file with the examples for the OpenL functions, and these sources are used to feed the assistant when you ask the questions. Also, it doesn't answer the questions about the whole project or all the projects. So once you switch to a table, you can ask the questions about the specific table. If you want to ask questions about a table or project. So remember that now it only sees a table that is currently open. If you want to ask questions about syntax or I don't know, any how-to question, please, you're welcome. You can type any question about it.
Oля, may I ask you another question
Mhm.
about the representation of the information? Like we get a lot of feedback from our clients that, for example, our reference guide is too technical, right? So it's hard for them to read. So currently, our AI assistant can we ask the assistant to adapt the reply, like I don't know, to explain in more simple way or something like that, or it's direct sentences from our
No,
guide?
you can ask it to simplify
Great.
it, or yeah.
Cool. So
For
basically, like regular work with a ChatGPT.
in a way, yes, but it's like a priority. We put that search in reference guide, for example, search in wiki, search in that file. If you didn't find, then come up with the answer. So it should provide you with the simplified answer. Yeah, but the priority would be to pull the request or pull the answer from those sources.
Got it.
Okay. Next improvement was done to the, or completely new UI, not even an improvement, was introduced for rule services UI. Previously, we had quite inconvenient UI to use because there were a lot of links, and to find something you had to like really look well, where are the links, where is the one that you need. Now it was improved, and you can find the name for the repository, let's say, that you're using, and the links that are actually working, that are clickable, and you will be directed to the APIs that you need. And the unnecessary information was removed from this UI. So now only relevant, consistent information is displayed and clickable, and you will be redirected to the new UI, by the way, as well. Let me show you. Before when you clicked Swagger UI, you saw such UI. It was improved to this one. There are technical parts that BAs don't really need to know about. For us, it's mainly that UI changed, and if you open it, I just wanted you to be aware that nothing is wrong. It's just the UI changed, and now it's more it's a better experience, let's say. So it will be a new layout as well. The same functions there, you will see the same try and fill in buttons. So nothing major changed for the BAs, but the UI will be different. Another nice feature that was really good to know is that, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but when you go to the Web Studio, to the OpenL Studio, sorry, and you go to the main page, before opening any project, you will see the list of the documentation links. Also very convenient, like a fast track to open any guide. For example, I previously used to go to the OpenL website and then finding the guides, so it would be time consuming. Currently, it's just available here and you can access them really fast without needing to go to 100 websites. And these fast links are also available in the OpenL services, rule services. They're grayed out, but still you also don't have to switch to multiple websites and sources. You can access them from here. Really convenient and saves time. Improvement for the run into file function. Previously, when we were running tests, when you click run into file, all the null or empty parameters were skipped. Now you can include those parameters in the file. Why it was done? Because for some customers, for example, it was important to have all the input parameters because they needed the constant stable structure or data structure. And this flexibility of, in this case, there are 5 input parameters, in the other one it's 100. So it was not acceptable for them. And this feature to include all the parameters, including null parameters in the test cases in the input parameters was introduced. Another improvement in the OpenL Studio, previously the table sorting was done by table type. So you could see here spreadsheet, decision, for example, tests. So table types were the grouping criteria, but it was confusing for the business users, and it was decided to change it to the Excel sheet sorting order. And now the tables are are represented here or grouped here the same way they are in your Excel file. So if you have certain tables on the first sheet, on the second, on the third, they will be displayed in exactly the same order here and grouped by Excel sheets, which is really helpful because usually BAs are advised to locate the most important rules on the first sheet and then the entry point on the first sheet. And going forward, the more detailed and don't want to say less important, but let's say the detailed calculations are going down. So in the Web Studio now it's the same. It's the reflection of the Excel file, and it's helpful for the business users to see better the flow of the calculation. You can change it. If you want, you can click on it and change to the more convenient way for you. Another good enhancement was done for the conflict resolution. If you remember previously, when we're merging the changes to the main branch, we could sync them without any conflict, without any problem, only if there were no changes in the project. So we could do this, and we didn't have to merge it manually. Now, the improvement was done that if users were working on different sheets in the same module, then the OpenL will resolve this conflict on its own. So we don't have to merge anymore manually the files if users worked on different tabs, right? It's really convenient and saves time and reduces manual work, and really helpful for this synchronization feature. Okay, small improvement for the REST responses. Previously, the numbers were displayed in not a very readable way, right? When you look at these numbers, when they are big, they were not displayed fully. After the improvement, they are displayed the way they are. So human readable format was introduced, and you will not see anymore those short numbers. Another improvement in the OpenL Studio was done for the rows visibility. It was extended. So previously it was shorter or more limited number of the rows that were displayed within a table view. And you could see the message that this number of rows is displayed. So you had to export the file into Excel, export the module into Excel file, and then you could see the whole table. Now this rows limit was extended to 20,000, and in the majority of the business cases, all the tables are displayed properly in OpenL Studio. So no more cut tables. Logging improvements. So we will talk about new features in Genesis, where a lot of improvements were done, where OpenL projects, OpenL rules now receive the information from different sources. For example, we have rating that receive information from policy, and then receiving information from census, from SEM system. We have from the information receiving from the commission domain. So now the information is coming not only from one source, and these improvements, they really made it difficult to see the logs and to see the requests fully. That's why some improvements were made that helped us to get the full logs containing a lot of data within one request. So what we used to have one log, one request, all the data in one request, it was supported, but within new features in OpenL. So there was a lot of work done for this to support large data coming from different sources and keeping the requests consistent and without the users, the BAs needing to go to different sources and trying to collect the data from different sources and putting it in one request to try to trace it. Okay, so this was the overview of the features that we completed. Just a brief overview what is coming. It will be the UI domain rules editor, really exciting UI where the rules will have a new UI and will be a simplified editing process. The access control will be extended with the UI, which will simplify the flow and allow BAs to work with the access rights and configure them. We're still working on the AI integrated features and more are coming. And of course, rating analytics, it's a completely new world that has a lot of new features and it will improve the current analytics and add a lot more that will make OpenL really competitive. Okay, any questions about coming features, about released features? Sorry, we're a little bit out of time.
No questions, but just I want to thank you for a great presentation, and it's really nice to see that despite the not very easy times, the team completed that many nice features that are very useful for the projects. So, congrats.
Thank you. Okay, let me start the recording then.